Hi, I'm Josh Brown. I'm here with Michael Batnick as always, and we're about to play our favorite game, What Are Your Thoughts? Michael doesn't know what I'm going to ask him, and I don't know what he's going to ask me. Stick around. Let's see what's happening. Okay, Michael, I want to get to the big topic of the day first, which is this repo rates thing. Long story short, on Monday and a little bit on Tuesday, there was an issue with overnight borrowing where rates shot up, and a lot of people are ascribing technical factors to it. We don't really need to get into
technical factors happen when you have no idea what's going on.
I guess. Now, people are saying like it was this confluence of there was a treasury auction at the same time that corporate taxes were due.
There's like an IRS something, yeah.
Yeah, so what ended up happening was all of a sudden there wasn't enough liquidity for everything the banks needed, and so the rate jumped up. And people took note of that because typically that rate stays within the confines of what the Fed is doing with overnight Fed funds rate. So the fact that that jumped, all of a sudden everyone wrote 500 articles about it, and I'm not dismissing it. I'm not saying it's not important.
Does that signal that the Fed is actually going to raise rates today to keep it in line with that?
No. I think it signals that the Fed is going to have to talk about what they want to do so that that doesn't happen again. And so the way they've dealt with it is, I'm going to get to my question in a second, the way that they've been dealing with that is spot operations, meaning they came in yesterday with like $73 billion of liquidity, and that rate then backed down. And then the question is, will they do some kind of a standing solution where they just say, okay, here's the repo rate, and we're gonna come with money whenever it's needed. But I guess my question to you is, the stock market all of a sudden paid attention to this.
What do you mean?
It seemed to be like a lot of the bears who have always been hunting for reasons why, there's a canary in the coal mine, we're about to melt down. Now they're seizing on that. Is that all it is?
Well, the stock market did not react. Participants. But those people always react.
So I guess what I'm asking is is this just another case of it's a dull market, there's not that much to talk about?
I don't know anything about this repo market, but Sentiment Trader had a great tweet. He said all this in only a week. The yield curve will trigger a crash, and it's a meme, of course. No, the shift out of momentum, oil spike, repo rates. Wait till Powell disappoints.
Right. So and then I think it also happened at the same time that we had this oil spike, and people are trying to draw a line between the two being related.
But the market did pretty much nothing yesterday, and it's doing nothing today.
Stocks ended up basically mixed, flat to mixed.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Went nowhere.
All right. What do you got?
So we were talking about this earlier. I actually forgot that I put this in as a question. Did you see the Bill Burr special on Netflix?
I didn't watch it yet, no.
It's pretty, I think it's brand new.
Okay.
So now the outrage culture has gone the other way. So far the other way that every single comedian brings it up in their act.
So, they bring up cancel culture?
Yeah.
So
now it's like comedians are outraged that the audience is outraged. And I kind of understand where they're coming from. I think maybe it's just like good fodder. How could they not talk about it? But what are your thoughts on this?
It's like a backlash to a backlash,
yeah.
I guess. Well, I understand the idea that if you stand up on stage and say risky things for a living, you would be on the forefront of fighting back when those risky things you're saying are triggering like these Twitter outrage mobs. And, I guess that's like an occupational risk for them. It's no different than an occupational risk for a stock market pundit is to like make a really big call that goes against them. Like I feel like every career has a thing that makes it hard to do. If that didn't exist, then these guys wouldn't get rewarded for being so risky.
And speaking of rewarding,
if you could say anything, then how hard would it be to stand out as a comic?
Don't you think that there has potentially never been better time to be a stand-up comedian with Netflix just giving money to everyone? Maybe only like the top comedians, but...
Yeah, and Netflix is actually giving money to the guys that take the biggest risk. Like they're giving money to Dave Chappelle, and Dave Chappelle doesn't care what anyone thinks about what he says. So there's an investing parallel. It's like, are you willing to take the risk? And if you are, you're not guaranteed a reward, but that's how you put yourself in line for a potential reward. So I think it's just like a normal career risk that people doing anything have. And, bravo, to the people that want to go out and fight it. And we're the audience, so we get to laugh. I don't think we take as much of a risk laughing as they take making jokes. What did you think about last week, there was this huge move in value stocks relative to growth stocks. What did you think about the commentary that came along? Like people are, it's such a desert. It's such a drought for that investing style, that 3 days of outperformance, and people get so excited. But we've seen that over and over again. In other words, like, tell me when we get 6 months of value outperformance.
Yeah, I don't really think that anybody was like pounding the table on this being the end of the cycle. Do you? I saw a lot of people saying what you're saying, that value managers are now like doing victory laps, but I didn't see anybody doing a victory lap.
So who's the contrarian at this point? Like everyone agrees value will have a comeback. Nobody thinks it's right now.
Lee Drogan's been saying value is dead for a while, like just dead.
No, we all agree it's dead. Like
no, dead and permanently dead.
Permanently dead. I hate the word permanently with anything to do with investing. I mean, with good reason.
Could there be mean reversion and it still be dead? In other words, could it go on to outperform for a year but still just be in a...
So that's a good point. If value stocks, like they caught a huge bid last week, and I'm not saying it's going to stick. I have a theory that it has to do with interest rates, and to a lesser extent, maybe oil. Like, I feel like a lot of the value stocks are in energy right now. It's just because they've been so beaten up.
It's sector, but
then banks.
But don't you think that also like companies have disrupted fundamental analysis or value investing? Like what Amazon is able to do with...
Of course, all those arguments still have merit. But you and I were preparing for my show last week, and there was this huge overlap in the Russell 2000 making a comeback and value outperforming growth. Think of what's in the Russell 2000.
Especially the Russell 2000 value. It's like 30-40% banks.
It's banks. Yeah. So I'm saying, like, I think interest rates backing up, like the 10-year backing up, obviously is correlated to it. Is it driving it?
Well, because banks move with that, with the yield.
Okay. So if you're somebody that's like, value's going to make a comeback now, you also have to be somebody that's like, rates are too low and they're going up.
Yeah.
Well, you can't say rates are going lower by value.
Right.
Because the correlation is so obvious. At least right now. It could change, but that's what it is. All right, what do you got?
There was an article that I tweeted yesterday. I don't know if it's an old article, but it basically said the cost of a living is like $350,000 to live in a city.
Any city?
I don't know. Maybe coastal city. But is that just like the height of nonsense? I mean, how many people live in New York City that don't make $350,000?
So it's not the cost of living; it's what your annual income has to be. It's two different things.
But whatever, to have a middle class lifestyle, which is totally up for interpretation.
Yeah, because how much are they saying you're saving?
But my point is, nobody thinks they're middle class.
Well, middle class is middle class is a regional distinction, meaning I don't know if I'm phrasing that right. You could be middle class in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and not be middle class.
Yeah,
in
but
New York.
you could be middle class in like our town and be upper class for Long Island and be in the top 1% in New York State, for instance.
Well, the New York Metro. Let's just look at that in totality. If you live in the New York Metro and you're upper middle class, odds are one or both spouses are taking a train into Manhattan.
But if you feel you're upper middle class, or if you by the numbers are upper middle class.
Yeah, I don't.
And upper middle class is rich. Like, nobody's going to say I'm rich. Like, you call yourself upper middle class.
Right. But then, like, so they just put the capper on Central Park Tower, which is 57th Street. There are 179 apartments in it. That's it. It's going to be the largest residential building in the world. So all these apartments are $7 million and up. So imagine living down the street from that, making $350,000. You know you're not upper middle class, like where you live. You're just not. I mean,
but
that's
really
an extreme example, but that's...
But that's my point. It is like the most relative thing.
Here's one of the most interesting things I saw about this. They're talking... This is in the context of politics. They're talking about all of these red states now that have these growing blue metropolitan areas.
Such as?
All over the South, like Atlanta within the state of Georgia is one example, but there's like 20 examples of this. It's actually turning Texas purple, this phenomenon. So what they're saying is that people earning decent incomes but not high enough incomes to stay in big cities like New York, Chicago, LA, they are moving to second and third tier cities.
Phoenix, Vegas.
And this is having an impact on the electoral map because these are people that have college degrees. They're educated.
Ben Thompson,
they're liberal.
actually. Ben Thompson just wrote a whole piece on this.
Yeah, so I think that's a real phenomenon, and yeah, I mean these are upper middle class enclaves within red states that have a lot of
Getting
rural
back to my
poverty.
point, the idea that you need to make $350 to live in a city is absurd.
Again, but it's what city? Because I think
No, it's not what city. A lot
Yes,
of
it
people. No, it's
is.
not. There's how many? 11 million people live in New York City.
okay, take New York City out of it, take L.A. and San Francisco out of it. If you make $350,000, you can live in the city of Phoenix very, very, very comfortably, better than most of the
You
residents.
could live very comfortably in New York City for $350,000.
Queens.
No, because this is that
How many
stupid,
kids? How many kids do you
that
have?
stupid thing where it's like if you have 2 kids and you max out your 401k and you save this, you spend this, and you do all your savings and spending, and you're left with like $0.
Do you have a car? Do you have a garage?
Come on, nonsense.
No, I'm serious. Do you have a car? That changes. It costs you $400 a month to park. That's what a lot of people pay for a high-end car.
You don't need a
lease.
car in New York City.
Need and
I don't
want
even
is
want
two
to get into
different
the line
things.
items. The idea is absurd.
All right, this is what I got for you. Are you ready for the Daniel Jones era? Have you thought about the implications for the direction of the
What
team?
should be happening is he should be stepping into the lineup with Odell and Saquon.
Okay, well, that's not an option.
Yeah, I know.
So Sterling's out. I don't know who he's going to throw
Who cares
to.
about that? It's just nonsense. The whole
Saquon will
thing-
probably break a personal rushing record.
The whole thing is disgusting. But yes, I'm ready.
I'm excited, and here's a news flash. I picked up Daniel Jones in the Ritholtz Fantasy League. I'm not starting him this week against the Bucks. I'll probably wait till I see him play for a week or two. Is that the dumbest thing I could possibly do, do you think? I like to trigger
You've
you
done
with
a
this.
lot dumber things
I don't think so.
with sports takes. So
No. In fantasy, I haven't done dumb things.
I don't pay attention to your fantasy. All right.
I may start him next year. All right, go ahead.
Ben had a good tweet. This is just like the dot-com bubble, except every high-profile tech IPO is getting slaughtered, and the most egregiously valued private company can't figure out how to go public. And retail investors are indexing instead of quitting their job to day trade.
Yeah,
But other than that,
Yeah, it's a fucking mania. Other than that, Ben Thompson from Stratechery had a similar tweet.
wait,
What?
I just said Ben Thompson.
I thought you said Ben Carlson.
No, but who is the other Ben from The Atlantic?
Oh, Ben Carlson's boyfriend.
Yeah.
What's his name? I love that guy. I forgot his
Isn't
last
that
name.
Ben Thompson?
No.
There's too many Bens.
That's Derek. That's Derek.
Derek Thompson.
Ben Thompson said he tweeted. He tweeted something about like companies that are losing money can't go public, so that makes this just like 1999. Yeah, so I was there. I could tell you that nobody cared if anyone was making money or not. There were just 3 IPOs a day. It was like the morning IPO, the lunchtime IPO, and they weren't all .coms. It was worse. They were competitive local exchange carriers, which were telecom companies that would basically set up shop within a larger telecom company and sell time on a fiber optic network, and these things were losing like $1 billion and going public with ease. You also had tons of genomics IPOs on the biotech side. Nothing like that is going on right now. The thing that makes people think it is how high profile, like Uber,
And how big the company is. Like
Uber
was
Slack. These are huge
So Uber was
deals.
$68 billion pre-IPO, I think, at its peak. Now it's
so-
now it's public and it's $59 billion. Speaking of which,
So you didn't have that.
let me just give a quick little plug. This book is awesome.
Oh, you're reading it?
Yeah, I'm almost done. Really good.
Can I read it when you're done?
Yes, very, very good.
Shout out to Mike Isaac.
Very good.
I'm looking forward to that. Is a company as toxic as everyone thinks, or was the company as toxic as everyone thinks?
Yes.
Hard yes.
Short answer is yes.
All right, cool. Hey, let us know what you guys think on all these topics. We love your feedback. We love your comments. Go below and make sure you go ahead and give us a like, give us a follow if you're not already subscribed, and we will be back very soon.